This is an ABC News special. The world is going to pot. Country by country, drug laws are going up in smoke.
That's good weed.
In Amsterdam, we found a new Dutch treat. Coffee shops with marijuana on the menu.
Chocolate bonbons, we have them in all three kinds of chocolate.
And a church basement where addicts have their prayers answered.
Feel good? Feel great?
But in America, police smash down doors, filling prisons with thousands of drug offenders.
I just say, my mom's living in New York. I don't like to tell them where she is.
Now, this police chief says it's a losing battle.
It's insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Should America be leading the war on drugs or following Europe's new tolerance?
When we interfere, then the problem is more bigger.
If you quit
The president says we have to spend billions to fight drugs because...
drug use threatens everything. Everything.
But this judge says it's time to make drugs legal.
Let's make it available to adults. Brown packaging, no glamour. It means government as drug dealer.
So much time and money spent. Is it hurting the drug trade or Americans? Tonight, war on drugs, a war on ourselves. Here is John Stossel.
Have you used illegal drugs? The government says a third of you have, and about 5% if you use them regularly. It's probably more, because how many people answer honestly when the government asks? So what do we do about this? America's approach has been to go to war.
What's time? It's showtime!
Police departments fight the war every day.
Put your hands up! Lay down. Lay down. Police, that's what!
When we fight against drugs, we fight for the souls of our fellow Americans.
Get down! Get down!
There's pressure on police to do more.
Pressure from the politicians or pressure from the community to do something about it.
Jerry Oliver is Detroit's police chief.
It puts policing in a position of being involved in tactics that are desperate.
Police!
What does he mean by desperate?
Since the transactions are normally between a willing buyer and a willing seller, it causes the police to snoop,
Out-of-state tag, 9-5.
to sneak, to stoop, and to snare individuals sometimes in ways in which, even though I'm in the business and I know that it is legal, it's questionable.
It's clear down there. You can send those decoys in.
He may say it's questionable, but on this day, his officers are out on the street pretending to be dealers. Dozens of people drive up and ask to buy drugs. Then the cops radio ahead.
14, she's out now. You can come make your move.
They tell uniformed officers, arrest the customer.
What's the problem?
You know what you did then, right?
Nothing. I was attempting to buy some purchase of marijuana.
That's all you had to say, ma'am.
50 police officers were involved in this sting, though most of those arrested were trying to buy less than $25 worth of pot.
Okay.
Even when they make a big seizure. The head of narcotics isn't convinced that they're making progress.
Last year we had probably our largest cocaine seizure in history. However, it hasn't seemed to have an impact on drying up the amount of drugs that are actually coming into the city.
Hasn't had an impact. That's the story all over America. In the past 10 years, arrests have gone up nearly 50%. But the number of users and the supply of drugs has stayed about the same.
Bingo! Got it. Got some more?
Are we making progress?
Absolutely.
Asa Hutchinson, President Bush's choice to run the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, travels the world telling people we're winning the drug war.
Overall drug use in the United States has been reduced by 50% over the last 20 years.
But was that because of government's policies? Or was it just people wising up after the binges of the 70s?
Drug use is down. It's not down lately. Last 10 years, it hasn't dropped.
That we have flatlined. I believe we lost our focus to a certain extent.
It's hard to see how we lost focus, because you're spending more.
I don't believe that we had the same type of energy devoted to it as we have in certain times in the past.
It's not clear how you'd measure energy, but federal spending on the drug war has kept going up. It's up 50% over the past 10 years, and President Bush wants still more.
To reduce illegal drug use in America.
And that's just the Washington money. Cities and states spend still more.
Up to 3/4 of our budget somehow can be traced back to fighting this war on drugs.
3/4 of the budget. Yet the drugs are as available as ever.
Didn't I just ask you if you had some heroin on you?
I didn't even have that in my pocket, man.
Since the arrests failed to stop the sellers, a newer tactic is to have authorities go after buyers.
Have a good day.
Here in Detroit, they're confiscating cars.
This vehicle now belongs to the City of Detroit's Narcotics Bureau.
This officer's car, now chasing down a drug buyer, was confiscated on a previous raid. They've taken so many cars, the police lot looks like a dealership.
Can I take my truck home or no?
No.
It costs people $900 to get their car back.
We're taking cars, we're taking property, we're taking houses.
Taking them and selling them. They bust up the furniture just to get rid of it. They don't even save the TV sets. Too much trouble, say the police. We just want to clear out the house and sell it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. They should take it.
Most of the neighbors are thrilled.
Good. Take the house. Take the one next to it. Take the furniture and take the owners to court.
But when government confiscates houses or cars and sells them, it keeps the money. The drug war gives officials an incentive to take more. Is this what we want? All the seizures, all the arrests?
We will never arrest our way out of this problem. All you have to do is go to almost any corner in any city, it will tell you that.
Oliver was once a big believer in the drug war. Not anymore.
If we did not have this drug war going on, we could spend more time going after robbers and rapists and burglars and murderers. That's what we really should be geared up to do. Clearly, we're losing the war on drugs in this country.
You told me you was gonna stop selling dope. Remember that?
It's insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Insanity? It's an odd statement from a police chief, but we hear the same frustration from others. In 1998, we visited this neighborhood in the Bronx, a neighborhood struggling with drugs and crime. 4 years and 15,000 narcotics arrests later, the drug dealers are still everywhere. The kids know where they are.
Every single block. Find over there, over there, down there.
And the violence is constant. Every week they hear gunshots.
I fear for my child. I mean, every morning she walks to school. What am I supposed to do? Buy her bulletproof vest? I mean, this is really serious.
Gunshots going off 9:30, 10:30, 11:30. I'm scared.
The government says we're winning the war on drugs.
Well, not on Briggs Avenue and 196th Street, they're not.
No.